Welcome back to the WCS America Premier League round of 32. We're here about to start the final game of final series of today, between Scarlett and State. But before we get into that, let me remind you, if you're out there, you're thinking about what type of career you might want to get into in the future, and you're thinking about maybe getting a job in the game design or esports industry, be sure to check out Full Sail University's educational opportunities. Go to www.fullsail.edu/MLG. You can get more information on their programs in video production, animation, audio engineering, game design, all these different programs that can help you get a career in the game design or esports industry. Remember, Full Sail University is, of course, the official education partner of the MLG. They do a lot of great work over there. Of course, the game we're about to start now is going to be Scarlett versus State. Both these players have gotten here by winning one match and losing one match. Scarlett has already beaten State 2-0 in the first match, but then fell to Violet in that winner's match. State was able to get to this final match by just defeating Oz 2-1.
And an incredibly engaging series. So hopefully we're going to see a more incredibly engaging series than we saw the first 2-0. State had a little bit of trouble dealing with Scarlett's build orders and pretty much map dominance. But we're going to be starting off here on Daybreak, which was, I believe, game number 1 between State and Scarlett in the first series.
It was.
So it's possible that State has kind of figured out the weakness of Scarlett. Said, hey, Zerglings, pretty good units, but I think I'm going to be able to shut them down this time. And let's see what happens.
You know what? I have to be honest. Scarlett looks so convincing in that first series against State. He's definitely going to have an uphill battle, especially on a map like Daybreak, where it really plays to her skill set, getting into that late game where she's such a dominant player.
But, I mean, State has just won the last 2 games. So it's
he's
possible.
on the up and up.
Yeah, he's on the up and up. I mean, that curve has just started going incredibly high. So hopefully State is now just on the ball, is getting that rolling, and is going to keep that ball rolling all over Scarlett's Zergling play.
We'll see if that happens. Of course, Daybreak is a map where Zerglings can be pretty annoying, 3 different paths to cross around. But if you wall off your third well, you should be able to defend without too many problems.
All right, guys, let's get into the players and positions on the map. Spawning up here in the top right-hand corner from Team Acer, it is our blue Zerg player, Scarlett. And down here in the bottom left-hand corner, our red Protoss player. He's on the up and up. Can he keep this win streak going? It is State.
Nexus is surrounded by Mothership Core icons. Scarlett
asking if he knows 4-minute. I was thinking that was going to turn into like a really bad joke or something like that. Like, do you know 4-minute? It's how long it takes for me to beat you. But unfortunately, it is actually a real conversation they're having here, and I'm not exactly sure what's happening in this chat.
They're talking about the songs and whatnot. So State is not going to do his same gateway expansion he did against Scarlett in their first series. He's going to go for that Nexus first or Forge play. So a little bit more similar to how Oz was playing against Violet.
Gets in here, sees that the hatchery, and once we hit the minute 52 mark is generally when Protosses say, okay, doesn't look like we're going to be seeing any really quick spawning pools, 10 pools, or anything crazy. Which, some Protoss players will use that as the marker of I can go Nexus first, but State, playing much like our other Protoss opponent, Oz, in his Zerg games, looks like he's just going to go for Forge first and be perfectly fine.
Probe. Oh, Probe stays around too long. Drone jukes it out. But does Scarlett have 300 minerals? Oh, no, she doesn't.
Oh, and the pylon goes down just barely.
Man, that was close.
That was a very, very...
State almost missed blocking that hatchery, and that is very frustrating as a Protoss player if you don't block the hatchery. It just really, really gets in your mindset, and you're like, oh, I'm already playing from a little bit behind.
Let's the other drone go to the third base. Just wants to continue denying this natural base.
Oh, look at this, going gateway. So just going to progress up fairly normally. Let's see how greedy State's going to be. If he gets the gas before cannon, that's a really bold move. And overly bold considering there's 4 Zerglings on the way. So he goes ahead and gets that cannon. And then, of course, there'll probably be a second pylon, followed by some assimilators and probes.
followed by other Protoss units and structures, generally. Don't want to call too many shots, but a lot of Protoss units and structures are probably on the way here.
They will follow. Unlikely that
Scarlett changing it up, making ZerG Protoss structures. ZerG structures and units.
It's the Xel'Naga hybrids. The new race has emerged.
NMrUUG joined the match, and that just ruins everything. Finishes up the wall.
Oh, the cannon can't quite protect the Nexus, but he should be able to build a Zealot and just chase those guys out once the Zealot pops out.
There we go. Now the Zealot started up here.
The Nexus is going to be unhappy, though. Right? I mean, it's getting clawed apart right now.
Do Nexuses really have feelings?
No, but the engineer who has to, you know, recharge the shields.
That's true.
He's going to have to work double shifts. Oh, 4 probes on gas. Really wanted to prioritize that gas income.
Of course, with more probes on gas means more gas until you hit about, you know, more than 3. 3 is the optimal amount, so past that, it's actually completely useless.
Yes, so...
unless you have a really long distance. That's the only thing that really changes things.
Don't put 4 guys on gas.
Yeah, don't ever put 4 guys on gas.
That's clearly just a mistake from State. I mean, it happens. You're distracted trying to save your Nexus. Scarlett actually getting a probe kill as well with these. Oh, another probe kill.
Wow, these Zergling. I was saying before, Scarlet Zergling, very, very good, very useful.
This one is cornered, though. Or is it?
No, it's not.
It jukes the Zealot. It has such little room to maneuver because it is photon cannon. It can't walk into range of that, but it doesn't need much room. It's just, apparently it does.
Oh, look at those physics. Throws the Zergling across the map.
Of course, you know, it's not like Scarlett was sitting there diligently microing the Zerg. She was macroing and like clicking on it using the mini-map and occasionally jumping to it and things like that. So,
even then, average APM of 140 there from Scarlett. Yeah. As we were saying, you know, as I keep bringing up, because it still astounds me how low her APM is. I mean, we see people like Jadong with 420 average APM throughout an entire match. Scarlett, very, very low, but very effective.
Using these Zerglings over here to go check for proxy pylons, realizing that there is no need for a buddy system in the unmanned areas of the map, so splits them up.
Stargate coming out here for State, starting up the first Phoenix. No Overlords are going to be scouting over there anytime soon because the only Overlord is by the natural.
That's right. A lot of the times you see Zerg players with that Overlord near the main, but Scarlett, perhaps knowing that State does use Stargate openers a lot, maybe she watched, or she remembered from the games she played against him earlier, this time decided to keep most of her Overlords on her side of the map.
Couple of sentries and Zealot running around, just being a little, you know, friends running through a meadow, holding hands, being very close with each other.
Oh, double evolution chambers going down, but after the lair, so this is, well, I mean, the build's already obviously not the fast ultra build, just because the fact it's the 3rd base. But the question is she going to go for speed leans, or is she going to choose to go for Roach Hydra? Given that their lair timing, yeah, I think it's much more likely to be Roaches or Hydralists. It's very difficult with a lair this late to try to defend timings without using Roaches or Hydralists. And the timings are definitely a possibility when you're fighting against anybody who's Protoss. Is one of the most strongest tools in the Protoss arsenal is timing attacks.
Now 4 Phoenixes have popped out here for State. Now heading across the map, going to do a little bit of harassment here. Meanwhile, Scarlett doesn't have any Spore Crawlers at any of her bases. So as soon as this is scouted off, which is by a Creep Tumor, not by an Overlord, not by a Zergling, not by anything else. So Scarlett taking a little bit of a loss here, going to be losing a couple of Queens.
First Queen is going to be focused. Overlords all huddling over the area where a Spore Crawler will be up once it finishes. But until then, one Overlord is going to fall to very least. Another one, going for drones instead, actually.
I like this decision to go for drones. Drones, I mean, I don't think he was going to be able to kill that Overlord in time. Actually, it was actually pretty weak.
Yeah. Deciding the drones were more important, does State. Speeding's waiting outside his front door. Following up with 5 additional gateways. So it's going to be an immortal timing behind this. Actually, wait, no, he's still been another probe. What's this? 53 probes, so it's not going to be an immortal timing. He would have cut probes significantly earlier to get those gateways faster if it is. Getting charged as well, so maybe a late 3rd base or perhaps a really late 2 base timing. Unsure exactly where he's going because he isn't building any more probes right now. Could be just wanting to get enough units to move out and take that 3rd before he goes back into probe production really scouting everywhere with these Phoenixes, trying to find those Overlords, but
A little bit different of build order here. I
kind
really
of
like
missed,
this, though. I feel like it would be pretty strong. It's got a very strong economy behind this, which makes it less all-in-ish.
Yes. I mean, there's no way he can actually make a time attack work anymore.
Right.
Not with 13 Hydras coming out. So
and there's that third base now coming out here. And a lot of Hydras coming out here. +2 ranged weapons going down here for our Zerg player.
Ooh, very good control over Scarlett, making sure none of the units leaves the safety of that Spore Crawler. Meanwhile, creep just continues to spread across the map. You know, I think State may have a difficult time against potential Hydra timing that could hit right before it gets Colossi range.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to try and get the Colossus out as soon as possible, but there's going to be so many Hydras out there beforehand, and Immortal's really not that great against Hydras. Hydras do just a little bit over the amount that Hardened Shields saves. They do 13, and they'll have, I believe, 15 once the ranged weapon finishes up here. And Immortals only take 10 damage, but they shoot very, very quickly. And, you know, they are not armored, so Immortals don't do bonus damage against them. There's actually nothing here that Immortals will do bonus damage against. This is going to be a difficult battle here.
Force fields could go down on the ramp. 5 force fields go down, but the speedlings, there's actually not quite enough cells.
Very, very good here. Tried to lift off the Immortal in case it was in a lot of trouble. Still a lot of force fields available. Does section off a good part of that army, but it's going to lose a couple more Zealots as the Zealots just kind of charge forward.
It is just too many Hydralists. The Zealots really need to be in a large group to take on these Hydralists, even with the charge upgrade. More Immortals being produced, more Gateways being produced.
Not many force fields left here for State.
Oh, the Mothership Core goes down. Use the Photon Overcharge on the Natural, so the third is going to be exposed.
Scarlett with a beautiful timing here, striking exactly when State is weak, doing a lot of damage, taking out all of those Phoenixes. The Immortal now is going to be the target here, and it's actually taking a lot of damage. There's a Queen here that's waddled its way all the way over here. I didn't even see that across the map. Queen, what are you doing here?
She wants to join in the fun. Already 1 kill. Queen very good at tanking damage. Has a transfuse available now. Is it? No, it's not going to be used. Hydralisk eventually going to be held off. But
wow, pulling probes in order to deal with this. Takes out the last Immortal before the Hydras fall. Scarlett with a lot of damage. 89 to 54 in the income tab in Scarlett's favor.
And Scarlett's Hive is completing. Mass Swarmos are being produced. And with only a few charge lots, sentries being warped in, Immortals, nothing that can really combat the power of the Locust. I don't know how State's going to hold off this next invasion.
It's going to be very difficult indeed for him. And I mean, Scarlett behind this, grabbed the 4th base, grabbing the 5th base down here in the bottom right-hand corner. She is on an incredibly strong economy.
More Queens being produced. Level 3 weapons upgrade for those Locust attacks. Adding in Vipers to help snag any potential Colossi into the range of those Locusts. Queens added in to supplement versus air. And, of course, to spread the creep. Creep is extremely important for Locust because not only does it allow them to outrun units like Sentries and High Templar, but it also, very importantly, effectively adds range to the Swarmos because the Locust can cross a greater distance before they time out.
Quite right. Now, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what State's going to have behind this. He's going to have Colossus, a couple of them.
No
right?
range,
one?
but...
Nope, just one so far. And 1 Immortal. And he's going for Archons, and the Archons are going to help out. Locusts do clump up pretty close together, and the Archons have that splash damage. But unfortunately, those Archons are going to tank a lot of shots just to get those Locusts dead or down. And this is going to be difficult for him to try and engage without having to back up a couple of times, because every single time he backs up, his shields are going to be weakened, his army's going to be weakened, and every single time he's just putting himself more and more at risk at losing this game. Now the Swarm hosts have moved into position. They're starting to move their Locusts across the map to the 3rd base, and they have that increased lifespan as well. Watch how fast they are going to be able to tear apart these gateways.
Scarlett's got to be careful because they could attack from... Oh, she Umbrellas right before the Locust spawn. A critical mistake there. That could give State the opportunity he needs to take this army out.
Locusts have spawned, though. They're cleaning through those Zealots. Now there's not much of a buffer. There are a couple of Archons. Viper's doing very, very good abducts here, pulling those Archons into the middle of the Queens and Locusts. Only 2 Archons and a Colossus left. Moving Spine Crawlers as well to buffer this army and increase its DPS.
You know, Scarlett's being very dangerous with the way she plays the Swarmos. She puts the Swarmos in a location where State could attack from 2 different directions, and then she sends the Locust in a single direction, meaning if State attacks from the other direction, you won't have to deal with as many Locusts. You can close that distance.
Now, State attacking when the Locusts spawn. This is actually going to be very, very damaging here. One Archon does go down. GG, well played. State is taken out by Scarlett in game number 1.
Scarlett's pretty good at StarCraft 2. She's...
I'd have to say so. I'd have to say she's like a professional or something.
3-0 versus State so far. A really well put together Hydralist timing, realizing that he wasn't really equipped to deal with it. He kind of took the third at a time when the economy wouldn't really catch up and give him that big swell units, but also he doesn't have any real good tech either. So a delayed third for not much tech advantage. Very weak to this Hydralist push. State took so much damage from this, he just couldn't deal with that Mass Swarmos follow-up.
Scalpel-like precision there in that attack. I mean, the timing was exactly perfect as you were describing. But guys, let's get into game number 2. But first, a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. This is WCS America Premier League. We'll be right back.